Deep hurting. Deep hurting.
I think that's about what we can sit back and say is going to be happening in these next couple episodes of Babylon 5 with the Shadow War and things brewing up at home. We are here with the second part of the fourth season of Babylon 5. With me, next to me, Mike from Pacific 414 is here as his curmudgeon Centauri self.
Wait. Why are you disparaging me? I am Centauri. I am not a non below me. I am Centauri.
Mhm.
You respect that.
Okay, makes sense. And
Mr.
speaking of the
Battle
person,
Attack, you will respect it.
and beneath him, of course, the Narn that he's talking about is Shinkar, also known as Cash Monet 007 from the Phantom Hooligans.
Hello.
Show some more
Thank you.
enthusiasm, Chinkara.
No.
Mm-hmm.
You're here with Baron and Lord Krit.
Yeah, and just imagine you won a big Twitter war.
You don't win those.
Oh, you have the pigeon that knocks all the pieces over, takes the crap and flies off.
The thing, you never win those wars, man. Just feel did I waste some time?
That's normally what it is.
It's hard to get through to a lot of those people, unfortunately. So it's just usually not worth it.
So we go to the comment sections on YouTube, and of course below me, eating his lasagna in his orange fluffy self. Well, he calls himself Space Jesus here, but everyone else knows him as Lord Krit of Everest Productions, the talented Lord Krit of Everest Productions, I should say.
Woohoo! Yay!
Oh my God, you went soy. Oh, there.
Soy.
I was gonna say.
Oh no, I go
soy.
Chad because I watch Babylon 5. So. Yep. You see that? You see all my. I became Chinkar. Yep.
I forgot who that is. Actually, the picture is.
I am a surgeon. You don't remember?
Oh, is it? Oh, you just changed his face, right? From the the Good Doctor or whatever it is. I think.
Good Doctor. I am a surgeon. Yep. But no, yeah, I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you here, Lord Krit, swimming in. Of course, I'm glad you don't have fin rot. That I hear that's annoying for orcas. And so basically, figuring that here we are, we might as well dive right into it. The first episode we are talking about is called The Long Night. And just to give you an idea of what the heck's going on here, the Army of Light is preparing to strike. They need to do something to end this war. Londo and Vir are continuing to plot Cartesia's downfall on Centauri Prime. Ivanova and Lorian go looking more for the first ones. They weren't having too much success the first time, but now having big old Lorian along with it, well, that should probably help, I would think. One would say. And of course, the Shadows themselves are one-upping the Vorlons in this, and they have their own new weapon they wish to show the galaxy. Lot of happening in this one. That's why it's deep hurting. What more is there on that one? So we have, of course, our esteemed John Sheridan trying to figure what they can do, what they can take care of the situation, especially when you have the Vorlons themselves deciding to make planets go boom. And of course, there's the Queen of Boom herself, Ivanova. No boom today, but boom tomorrow. And of course, we have a little conclave on Narn. They're trying to trick the Centauri Emperor to come to the Narm homeworld. And this is a little conclave, you might say, on trying to get rid of said same Cartesia. Not everybody's a fan, needless to say, of this new emperor of Centauri Prime. Meanwhile, of course, Sheridan, things need to be done. What are we going to do about things? Planning. Trying to get, we need to get those first ones. We need to shake things up. We need to get this over with. And again, lovely picture of the lovely Claudia Christian. You really could not have found a better person to play that role. Honestly. And of course, we have the Fool. The Fool with Cartesia. Everyone enjoying the fun with the insane emperor. And who wouldn't want to annoy the Centauri known as Lando?
Look at that handsome face. That is a handsome man right there. Handsome Centauri.
Yeah. It looks like Pop Talk. The jester and everything, and all the laughter.
Yeah, there we go. And who's the jester?
Smile. Cash Phil.
Oh yeah, he is the king. He is the king.
Yeah. Oh no, that's Mike. Mike's the king. I don't know.
No. Phil's the king of trolls. King of trolls. And
oh, yeah. This is his domain.
He's the king of bots. Yeah.
Yeah. It heals. Yes, it does. It heals. Yeah.
I hate to have a jester like that around. It drives me crazy.
Well, this guy's an egomaniac, so anything to feed his ego.
Oops, the jester did wrong.
What is it? Cartesia or Cartesia or
Cartesia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cartesia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cartesia. He's he's definitely egomaniac, and then of course this episode you see now I want to say Chinkar all the time, but Jakar, you see him being humiliated, of course, for the pleasure of the emperor. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, he's not really happy.
His eye
No. Yep.
But Londo's coming with a deal.
Yep. Londo never wanted, as we've talked about before, Jakar to be in this situation. So,
yeah, and he's making a deal with good old Jinkar about all this. That if Cartesia gets taken care of, well, Narn is free.
Right. No. Well, Cartesia, I don't know. Sometimes it's like, do some of these emperors need to be taken out? They're just they're out of control. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or at least throw them in jail. One of the two.
Well, no, because do that, they're still around. I mean, that really worked
That's
for
true.
Napoleon when they exiled him.
No.
But
Put him
he
to
does
sleep,
plan.
or put him to sleep. Ship him somewhere.
Mhm.
Make sure he doesn't
Well,
come back.
They tried that too in certain days and just didn't work out. And of
Yeah,
course,
I think you did right. Yeah.
mhm,
Bryan
of
Cranston's
course,
also in this episode too. Surprisingly,
mhm,
a much younger Bryan Cranston.
mhm, before he did Malcolm in the Middle, to be
Yeah,
exact.
he must have been in his 30s, probably.
Yeah.
Well, this is
He also did
1997.
Yeah, he did Seinfeld too. For
he also did anime roles. He
yeah, he
voiced
did.
I forgot the Bruce Lee fighter in Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. So,
It's
he was also in that a movie we should talk about sometime called
we
the
have to
one
finish
with
that movie though.
Bill Murray. Yeah, the one with the Bill Murray astronaut. Well, I think it was called Royal Defense Force, Royal something.
Well,
Royal
it's
Space Force.
yeah, it's just crazy where you see these people. It's like, wow, like Bryan Cranston popped up on Babylon 5. Like, it's something, man. It really is.
Mm-hmm. And of course, what they have there is, of course, the device that they plan to do Coctasia. And you have to remember, Centaurs have two hearts, and they want to have do the job so it doesn't seal up, and it does its job, because it can be a little difficult killing a Centauri,
Two hearts.
as Mike will attest to. Would
Yes,
you trust that base?
The three of you have tried multiple times.
Mhm. And basically, the plan goes is Jakar is supposed to cause a little bit of a problem, so people go crazy and nuts. And there he is, sitting on the chair, all regal Cartasia, Veer and Londo waiting as they're bringing in Jakar for more humiliation.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in the made-up throne room on the Narn homeworld. Little whispering, and there he is. The sacrifice victim coming closer, beaten up, and he starts fighting. He starts fighting, and before you know it, with Super Narn strength, he breaks his bonds.
Those trains were supposed to be reinforced trains that he supposedly wasn't able to break, but as we see here, he's able to break his trains. All the anger, all the frustration.
Plus, having a look at that dick face. Look at that dick face.
Well, he can't believe it. He's seeing Jakar breaking the chains.
And he rightly so thinks Londo's up to something. And he turns, and what happens? The most surprising thing you can imagine.
Veer
is there.
Yes.
And he's the assassin.
He didn't see it coming, but.
And by accident, complete accident, he was just holding the thing to pass off, and lo and behold, he turns right into it. Of course, he tries to take Veer out with his last gasp, but he didn't make it.
I don't know. Is it the only way to get rid of him? Probably. I don't.
Yeah.
They probably could try some other ways, but.
But this is dramatic.
Yes.
And there we got Bryan Cranston. He's one of the Rangers on board one of the White Stars, and he is sent out on scouting missions with our esteem. But now comes the hard part. John Sheridan's got to send them on. Oh, as they take a look and they see, of course, the shadows, their new planet, their own version of Planet Killer, which is a cloud, and it circles the planet, cooling the planet down. And they start shooting these rock-like spears down to the planet, annihilating it. Not a pleasant way. Everyone watches. Cranston, of course, is the one that let us know about this nasty thing happening. In fact, Bryan Cranston's name in this episode is Erickson.
Erickson, okay. Yeah.
Erickson.
Doesn't he die in this episode too, if I remember?
Well, we're kind of going to get there, but we have Veer, who is absolutely stinking drunk because he's trying to get over the fact that he killed a person. Because again, he's the innocent soul.
Yes. Why would I do something like that? Well,
Mm-hmm. And again, Londo was poised to take that spot, but now it leads to a new meaning of moon-faced assassin of joy with good old Veer.
Mm-hmm.
Unhappy. I mean, it was dirty. They knew it was dirty, but they had to do it, and
yes.
not pleasant things. Of course, they kind of know they have to get the heck out of Dodge.
Yes.
But again, it shows the range of Stefan First in this episode.
Yes.
And the celebrations on Narn were free. We're free at last.
Well,
Bye bye, Centauri.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, of course, the League Non-Alliance line worlds and all that being introduced to all the good stuff that's happening on board Babylon 5 involved the war. And now comes the hard thing that John Sheridan's got to do with Erickson. He asks, of course, if he has family, and he does. But he's got to send them out on a suicide mission to confuse and lure the Vorlons out, you might say. And being a good ranger, a good soldier, knowing that he is going to his death, he does.
Yep.
Then he comes back to life and operates a meth lab. So,
well, right. Before that, he raises 3 boys.
He raises 3 boys.
Very mischievous.
He also pops up on King of Queens and Seinfeld.
Yeah, he was in a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the many lives of Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, he has had quite a career.
Yeah, and he's in the new Argyle movie as well.
That's right, he is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Does he have hair?
Yes, he has hair.
Yeah, he does. Excuse me. Yeah, he does have hair.
And of course, we can see more of the celebrations happening on board Narn, basically going through trashing all the Centauri stuff. And I suppose in some ways, Jakar is trying to keep them in line with all that's going on. Kind of confused that he is not jubilant about the whole thing, but we have now a wiser Jakar.
No.
Not the same one that we have met before.
And I think if I remember also, Jakar is like, this is done now. We don't need revenge.
Right.
We just need to move on.
Exactly.
Rebuild the Narn homeworld. Rebuild our lives.
Because you had Narn that wanted to go out and let's show the Centauri a thing or two. But it's like, no, when does it stop? It stops now. And which is a wise thing. I mean, because, look at today. Look at what we got going on with today. People keep on opening up old wounds, and people who have no right to open up old wounds. And what I mean by that is it had nothing to do with them.
Right.
It had to do with a generation or 2 or 3 before them.
Right.
But nothing affecting them now, but they want to open these old wounds for whatever reason, personal gain, greed, just to have a chip on their shoulder, whatever. Even coming down to racial pride or ethnic pride, family pride, but it shouldn't be. As the old saying goes, their war was their war, not my war.
Exactly.
And it's like, when do we learn to stop until no one's left?
Exactly.
And this is the Jakar that we got. Quite a contrast to when we first saw him, and he wanted to destroy every single Centauri he met.
Yes. Because of his thirst for how much he hated them, yes.
The revenge, what they did to his father, in his world, and not only once but twice.
Yep.
But he fell. He hit absolute bottom, and now he's rising back up, a wiser, better man. Or I should say, Narn. Sorry about that, Cash. Of course, the troubling aspect that sending a man to his death and hoping to have the proper response for doing so, because you never want to send someone away and have their life thrown away for nothing. And of course, we didn't have any of the images of Lorian and Ivanova looking for our esteemed first ones, but of course they do manage to get them sighted into doing fighting in this war to try to get this done and over with. which is kind of interesting thing. Sorry, Marcus, no hanky panky time with Ivanova or attempted ones.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. In fact, I don't think he was even in this episode. I could be wrong.
No, I don't think he was.
No, he wasn't.
I don't think. No.
Mm-hmm.
So, thoughts or any ideas? Any takes off of this?
Well, I mean, again, the acting of Andreas Katsoulis. I think his acting alone conveys what's going through Jakar's head.
And now his one eye had to be, because the other one's been fucked.
The fact that the Narns are finally free after all this time, which is, something in itself.
Yeah. It's like, hallelujah, we're free. It's time to
Finally.
go. It's like,
And Jakar was happy to put his body through torture and humiliation, to make this happen. Londo before had a good plan, and they executed it well. And Veer was, of course, part of it as well, but still.
Yeah.
And also think about the contrast again. Season 1. There is no way, in my view, that Londo would have helped Jakar if this happened in season 1.
He would have laughed.
But he started putting the pieces together, even about Mr. Morden, which we'll get to again in this season. But that even he's done some wrong things already. That just he's been manipulated too, because they found the right breaking point. So, and then with Jakar, how he feels, and it's like, well, maybe it's time to. And Londo kept his word. To Jakar, which is important. Because if he didn't, yeah,
exactly,
we're gonna get ugly again. Even worse than before. Yeah.
Then Jakar would not have been the man that he was then. It would have been the betrayal. It's like, okay, well, I didn't want this, but you're making me.
Yep.
So okay. Oh, excuse me. Whoa, I don't know where that came from. Whew. Okay, next episode we have coming up here, of course, is called Into the Fire. And there is a good image of our own friend, Lorian, of the first one. We learned a little bit about the first one that, he is immortal. He cannot die naturally. But as others came, they were able to grow old and start dying. And of course, other first ones that came along, as we know, the Shadows and the Vorlons were the younger versions of the first one.
Right.
But they all kind of look at good old Lorien as, as the father, you might say. And so let's shake up the Vorlons a little bit. We're pissed. And they attack a Vorlon outpost.
Yeah, how crazy.
Stirring up the hornet's nest.
How crazy is it that the Vorlons can be even more of a threat than the Shadows? And the Shadows are horrible, but...
Right.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, as things go with that, it's, when you get set so much into an ideology and you can't see outside of it, of course, both are dangerous. They, each one only sees their viewpoint, and it's all or nothing. It's, it becomes an obsession, you might say. But, let's stir up that hornet's nest because we found out the Vorlons aren't our friends as we thought. And this, some of these, by the way, some of this background that you see that they have in Babylon 5 were taken straight from images from Hubble. Again, showing how they were working side by side with JPL on stuff to try to get science and such. Nice. One person was making a comment about why is all this stuff like this in space? Space should be black. And JMS says, no, surprisingly, space can be pretty colorful.
Yeah,
especially when you're dealing with gases and nebulas and various other stuff. And that was kind of a nice thing Babylon 5 was giving us with this.
Yeah. And then in Voyager, there was an episode where they actually used an image from Hubble.
Nice.
All these little Vorlons getting torqued off. It makes me wonder, how do Vorlons meet? But again, it's also funny. You have Minbari and Vorlon fusion ships attacking the Vorlons. And so it's like, the little ungrateful bastards are turning on us here.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, the Vorlons went too far, so there need to be consequences.
Yeah, planet killing is, of course, we have the fleet all already in hyperspace waiting for the final say. Of course, Lita there to help along with her abilities, especially with the Vorlons and such. And who wouldn't want to have that hang in their house?
Burn it. Just burn
That's
it.
nightmare fuel.
Yeah, it is.
Burn it.
Oh. Londo a little bit more.
I know people say that's art, but just throw it in the trash.
I don't know if that was considered art. It looked like something out of the back of a pickup truck at a corner. Those velvet Elvises and such.
It's like, how much can we get for this?
Yeah. Well, that's just it. Yeah, maybe someone would have it. And of course, Londo's got a little bit more of a relaxed outfit, as you can see. He's got kind of he's kind of got a little bit of a Hugh Hefner look going.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And of course, the minister and all that, saying things to good old Londo, who is who's happy. He's pleased. He's pleased with what he wants, and he wants to see one thing. He wants to see Mr. Morden. Lorian,
Mr. Morden, yes.
And I love his eyes, gold eyes like that. It's just stunning. I thought not as nice as Ivanova's eyes, but they're stunning. Speaking of which, he is with Ivanova, discussing, of course, the first ones and such, being able to live as long.
Of course, yes, and the first one.
He is the Lord Krit. He is the first one. Not exactly a handsome lad, but there he is.
Well, from human standards, maybe, but among his people, he probably was considered handsome.
Probably. I don't know.
Maybe so.
Then why is there only one of them left? They all couldn't stand looking at him. And we also have the Shadows and Vorlons, of course, in this have not been battling each other correctly, by the way. Their goal wasn't to defeat the opposition military style, but to convince the charges, the younger race, to forsake the opposing philosophies. But of course, when you've been doing this for so long, it turns into a hot war. They lost track of what's going on, and now we got what we got going on here. So, battling long. Okay, so of course, we have a new, what would you say, a little bit more confidence building of Londo as he's starting to realize what position he is in.
He's the new prime minister.
It's like, oh, really? I'm in charge? And then as a prime minister? Oh, okay. What am I supposed to do now? Don't be like Justin Trudeau. But am I able to? Am I able to rule? Able to do the thing? But even for what's going on, it comes down and hits hard. It's like everything. There comes that moment when you just gotta, when you break down with that one. And I think he was also given
he
more
was hurt
information
because he probably didn't want to have things occur the way they did. He was the patriarch.
Plus, I think he finally found out how much Morden was involved in his beloved's death. And what was all encountered. He's finding out all the pieces that were falling down around and how he was played.
I was going to say, he even says, I was played like a fool. He starts trashing his room because he's upset for being played like a fool. And they played him like a fiddle, and he lost.
Except in the end. He's the last man standing, along with Vera, of course. Yeah. His constant source. Oh, where are you?
That's another thing too. He and Vera may be standing in the end, but now Londo's also thinking about what he's lost. Could he have still been in the position he was in, but not have lost so much?
So Londo, of course, is realizing what the Vorlons are doing. They're going around also blowing up planets that are touched by the shadows. And they happen to have a large contingency of shadow enforcements on their one island there. And I'm going to say the island wrong. I'll give it a try. I don't know if I'm going to be successful or not. And I'm trying to find an actual name for that so I can say it right. Is their version of Sicily. That's all I know. I saw it before. Of course, what do you know? When I need to look at it again, it's missing. Typical. But they're Cellini is the name, of course, a very Italianish sounding name. So that's where they all are on that. And of course, he's coming in. He's giving Morden an ultimatum. It's like, leave, just go away. And doesn't he look a little like Bud Bundy?
Wait a second. He
was. I was going to say, look at his hair. He's trying to look like a Centauri.
Did the because before when we saw him, it was like almost like he had leprosy, but it looked like it. But it was the he was burned. But
he was burned.
I never noticed. Well, maybe I didn't look close enough. I guess did the shadows or something heal his face?
Yeah, he was getting healed, his whole body. Okay. That's why it was like picking off the flicks and all that. It was like shedding off the skin and bringing up the new skins. And what exactly they did, I don't know. But
it was like it was kind of like Palpatine in the EU, because when Palpatine in the prequels in the EU, he had a literal mask on. He looked the way he did in the OT.
Oh, interesting.
So it was basically a skin of evil. Hides his real appearance, maybe. I don't know.
It's not bad. Okay.
And of course, Morden's not having any of this. He figuring Alondo's bluffing. And doesn't realize that maybe he pushed a little too far. But we all look at that face. Would you buy a used White Star from him?
No.
I wouldn't buy anything from that man.
Throw him out the airlock every time. The man is a slick oil salesman, is what that man is. Bad person.
And look at that look. Look at that. That's the look Mike has on his face before every pop talk when he's dealing with us.
Maybe he does.
Of course, what does he know? He knows there's always somebody with them. So the guards walk off to the side. It's like, oh, what's going on? Oh, don't move. Just stay right there. Just what's going on, Londo? And boom, let's take out some shadows. And probably the first time he's felt loss in this whole thing. He doesn't have his handlers around him.
Right.
Nope.
Yeah, he always thinks he's in control of everything.
But, he's still trying to be cocksure about the whole thing. Not happy. It's like, oh, wait a moment. All I have to do is press this button. And what does he do? He blows up the island with all the... And basically, as he sat back and said, they managed to think majority of the population out, but some stayed behind to keep an appearance that people were still there. Made a sacrifice. And now there it is. You can, just like he got punched in the gut. He's down, man. He's down for the count almost.
Mm-hmm.
He knows he's effed. And what to do? Well, it's simple. We know what's going to happen. Don't we? Bye-bye, Mr. Molden.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're back, getting ready for the battle. There's the Vorlons. And, of course, Centauri Prime. He's enjoying his little meal. Oh, by the way, Vera, go out to the courtyard. I got something for you.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if you see it, but now we're seeing everyone's getting engaged, getting involved with the war with the Vorlons in it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful looking country there for Centauri Prime. And there's Veer. Mr. Morden finally gave him, what do you want?
Mm-hmm. His head down and stick.
So there's one of our first ones. There's another one of our first ones. I always found that ship kind of neat. And there's the Vorlon World Killer getting blown to shit. I'm sorry, just blown away. Try to keep this a PG show. I kept it in PG-13, whatever. And of course, good old Londo's all happy except for one thing. There's one thing still left on Centauri Prime that's touched by the shadows. And who could it be? There's the Centauri. There's the World Killer coming in, and he's begging Veer, kill me. I'm the last one. You got to save Centauri Prime.
Mm-hmm.
And the battle's going on, raging. Of course, the Vorlon World Killer blotting out the sun. The fear. Understandably, I mean, they've already had word, but something happened. It's going away before he has to worry about it. And everyone's getting a little surprised. And, Miss Glowy Eyes. And now she zaps good old Sheridan. And now we are involved in a three-way conversation. The Shadows and the Vorlons. Each one, or actually, I forgot, they brought in, of course, Delin. And there's Lorian. You can do this, girl. Don't worry. Everyone's concerned. Frozen in the ice. There they are talking with the Vorlon side. Cold. Order. All that. Talking. Debating. Pushing buttons. Passion building up. And here, of course, Dylan is dealing with the shadow, the chaos. Again, the convincing. Who do you want? Which side? Who's better?
Mm-hmm.
Temptations.
Why not use the people that they know? So,
Exactly.
Try to tempt them.
Mm-hmm. Seeing yourself. Of course, John Sheridan's having none of it, having a little bit of a respite of the battle because of this conversation. And look whose hand comes in. Lorian's. And here we get I suppose you could sit back and say the Vorlon Emperor and the head of the Shadows. And now it's time to say, get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of my galaxy. Kind of looks like Cautious.
I was going to say, it looks like they just reused Cautious.
Just the same costume, recolored.
Mm-hmm. You're one ugly mother. letting them know that we don't need you no more. We've grown. And it's like, time to go beyond the rim. It's like, well, will you come along with us? Yes, I'll join you. Time to go beyond the rim. Our time here is over with. Lorian turning himself into energy and leaving. And they're gone.
Yeah, without him, I don't think the conflict would have ended between the Vorlons and the Shadows.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, Londo is sending Veer to Babylon 5, primarily help keep him safe. While all the stuff's happening on Centauri Prime. And we have this little moment where John Sheridan's explaining a little bit to Delenn about, well, first of all, like the third age of mankind. What do they mean by that? And, you know, all the first ones, including the Shadows and Vorlons, they're gone now. They've gone beyond the rim. Whatever that means, we don't know. And it's ushering in that third age. And it's not just for humanity, it's for all the younger races. And in the first age, man was too primitive to be considered part of the larger picture. In the second age, man was intelligent and aware of the greater world, but his fate was manipulated by outside forces. Now, with all the other older races gone, man has entered an age of self-determination. And one thing I love what they're doing is you can see them getting closer and closer to that magnificent space station, Babylon 5. So the Shadow War's
a great
over.
design.
It is. The O'Neill style space station.
I like it a lot too.
We've never really seen anything like this in science fiction. So, you know, in many ways, we were given a lot of different looks and styles with Babylon 5 that a lot of other science fiction were too busy trying to copy other stuff with. Any thoughts on this episode as we bring a close to this?
I'm going to take... Oh, you could go, Mike.
No, go ahead, Krit. Go ahead.
I'm going to be controversial here. I think the Jakar plot line was great. I think up to this point, everything with the first, the ones, I think it's undercooked. I really think that should have been more fleshed out. I'm guessing because the show was, because again, this feels like two seasons mashed into one. I felt, well, as we see, I felt the second half of the season was more fleshed out than the first 6, 7 episodes. Is it 4 or 5? I don't know. It just goes. It goes. It does make sense in the end, and it does have a great ending liner. But I think the whole plot line, especially after the end of season 3, it's kind of a letdown, a big letdown. Can't say that for the Jakar and Londo stuff. I think that was handled well. Even though it did feel rushed with them getting the whole Narn plot done and over with Centauri, I think it really did. It did feel fine on that end, but with everything, I kind of like. I was kind of like confused, and I wasn't really a fan of the first one. He was kind of like just there, and we're supposed to believe that this guy I think he should have been maybe alluded earlier than just randomly appearing in these few episodes. And then, but I do feel this war, unfortunately. Yeah, the war part of this is it really just feels like, again, I think the ending of it is good. Just getting to it really felt undeserved, and it really it just confuses you. But yeah, it isn't bad. It's good. It's just it could have been great if it had its time to cook. If it was if this whole war was devoted to a whole season, I think it would be it would be high up there. On the lines of season 2 and 3. But yeah, and as we see, this isn't really one of the big things I have problems with either. The second stuff that I have problems with, and we'll get to that as it goes on, is everything that happens to Garibaldi in this season. But that's how I feel about the first plot line of this season.
Let me play devil's advocate here. Do you think if they had gone with this storyline for the whole season, you think it might have, petered out somewhere around the middle? Where it would have lost some steam. And maybe that's why they didn't go with it the whole season.
I think, maybe Baron could say, I think he had to cut corners and had to cut things that were planned for this season to make it work. I think maybe there would have been plot lines there that we didn't see. He was kind of at a disadvantage because he thought the show was getting canceled. So he had to take all his ideas he had planned for this season, for this season and the next, and mash it together. I don't know if some of his ideas in season 5 were planned. Some of those I think were original, like the Byron stuff. But this one, I just feel like there is a void of stuff that he cut out or moved around. I definitely believe the Garibaldi stuff was made on the whim. He had to come up with something to kind of, because of what we're about to see in this season. He had to kind of figure that out a little bit and tie it in with the other stuff. So I don't think it would have lost steam because maybe we didn't see his whole. Again, Baron might explain this better. He might correct me, or he might agree with me. I don't know. He's the expert on this, but I really feel like
no pressure, right?
Yeah, no pressure, buddy.
So you feel that we didn't get to see JMS's full vision for this season?
No, we didn't. I think he just had to. What he did, he was able to make it work. Not saying he didn't make it work, but it was kind of just maybe weaker than what he originally had. That being said, I think the Jakar stuff was paced fine. I can't hate that. Maybe it would have been different if it was a full season. I don't know. But, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as it kind of went with this, JMS kind of made it known that the first part of the show went about right, and then it was as they were going along, they were getting basically communicated that the show was going to be canceled, which made him kind of speed up the Earth Civil War plot line. In fact, the season finale would have been the interludes and intersections in real time. Which we'll talk about when we get to that point. I don't want to get too far away. And there was in season 5 that that it was concluded that storyline. Byron was definitely intended to be that way, and I think Garibaldi was planned to be that way. It just might have been the execution that made it seem like it was a little not there, which is understandable. I mean, this is one man trying to do how many episodes and trying to keep it all together. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that we had a little bit of that stumbling on there, but yeah, it did end into anticlimactic, and maybe that's what he wanted it to. They have it kind of in that, it's like boom, it's like we're middle war and now it's done. Wow, I think he might have been going for that type of factor.
I think the best word is it feels very, very compressed, like you're mushing stuff, like you're. But it still looks like a burger, even though it doesn't look like what it's on the commercial. So, but Yeah.
But then again, on the commercial, they're not fully cooked anyways. So yeah, so maybe it was better for what we got. I don't know. But yeah, it's yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff was happening, and how do you bring everything to a satisfactory close? And yeah, I mean, because everything kind of had to work together. The Vorlon killing Planet Killer, coming to Centauri. What would be the thing that keeps it from doing that? Well, being called back because of what was going on with the younger races and the other first ones. And yeah, it's a hard battle on that one that they had on it. And but they weren't feeling because this is like the 7th episode of the season, so we're getting close to almost halfway through the season with the end of that episode. So yeah, any other thoughts on this episode?
I think
go ahead, Kurt. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna just say I think even though it's compressed, I think it is a good conclusion to the storyline. You can go, Mike.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It still gives you a conclusion. It may not be the conclusion you were expecting, but it does give you a conclusion to this part of the story arc.
Anybody else? Okay, so the next episode we have coming here is called Epiphanies. And of course, this is our first episode after the fact of the basically this is our first real look at people in this universe without the old ones, the first ones. And of course, needless to say, rightly so, they're partying. They have they have every reason to. They went through all this hell and back, and of course, Sheridan is more than happy to watch all the people down there having fun. That's the kind of the separation that commanders sometimes have. Do not go and fraternize necessarily, but he's got that to fraternize with. So don't feel too sorry for him, folks. Talking about how everything they've gotten through, but look who just came into the station. A navigator from the Starship Enterprise. Well, actually, he hasn't gotten there yet, but he's going to be on his way to Babylon 5. You're getting some news. There's people within the faction of Clark that's still siding with the Shadows, even though the Shadows are gone. But there are other races, you might say, that are involved that they had. And not everybody necessarily on board with what Clark is doing. And Bester himself isn't even in that circle to know fully what's going on. Ah, yes, there we are. That's our crazy friend again.
Our Norwegian has popped up.
Oh, howdy, Jace from 540 Studios. Good morning. Yes, it's morning because it's tomorrow over there.
Yeah, he's living in the future again.
So he's the ministers, just talking stuff, and your typical, his normal self. Which I don't know. How would you describe this minister? There's
quirky.
I wouldn't say he's quirky. There we go. I wouldn't say he's crazy. He knows more that's going on, but
right.
He's got a way to be disarming.
I think he's a little eccentric.
Yes.
And we also got the little situation here is who's in charge of Centauri Prime. Because as the minister is telling Londo, the position of regent is mostly ceremonial, and so who's in charge of all this? Yeah, he was a good actor. Kind of reminds me of someone in the Carry On movies. So of course, time to meet the ministers and others. What do we do? Good old Jakar made it back to Babylon 5 himself, and being checked over by Dr. Franklin, presumably, what can we do about a new eye for him?
Yes.
And Garibaldi is still feeling the effects of what happened to him.
Which anyone would in that situation, I think.
He still doesn't know fully what's going on. And, whatever it is that's been messing with him. Oh, little message thing comes, and he wipes that little face away. And he's got a message for Sheridan, I mean. Hi.
Yes.
Hi, John.
Yeah,
Hi.
Sinclair comes out of nowhere again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I quit.
That's right.
There's Zach, and Zach is greeting our esteemed Centauri back from Centauri Prime. Welcome back. Oh, and who do we got here?
Hey,
we got Baxter coming through.
It's a jackass.
I'm looking for the nuclear vessels.
The vessels.
And Zach isn't happy.
It's like, oh, good, Bester's back. Oh, yay, happy days.
He's always fun to have here, and it's like he just wants everything to get done with as best as possible before any more weird things happen, and that's when the Three Kings come in.
That's right.
I forgot again why there was an Elvis convention thing or whatever was going on.
That's right.
I don't know.
There was
I think it was just
thrown in there. I don't know. It's like, what are these Elvis people doing on Babylon 5?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's not cash money. It's just trying to let you know that even by the time of Babylon 5, people are still impersonating Elvis.
I think it's quite possible people still would, actually. I don't think Elvis is ever going to go away. It's like Jimi Hendrix and some of these other people. It's never probably ever going to happen. And it shouldn't.
Well, I think
it's funny to be on a space station and there's people dressed up as Elvis.
The flying Elvis. I think even more so with Elvis is because you got so many people who visit Graceland and dress up as him, unlike the others out there.
True.
I think his legacy, for better or worse or indifferent, will last longer than that. Just what would you say? Just because almost the legend of him,
the legend of Elvis, and also the different points in Elvis's life. You have the young Elvis, the middle-aged Elvis, and then unfortunately.
Overweight died of a heart attack. Pinching went out on the toilet, Elvis. But
Elvis had
unfortunately, that's how he went. He was constipated from all the medications that he had. And of course, it didn't do much for his heart either.
No.
So, and let's face it, all those peanut butter and banana fries in a butter, a stick of butter didn't help matters much.
No, that's not good for your diet.
No, I wouldn't think so. So, of course, we got the Three Kings. I wonder if one of those is James Crowley. I doubt it. And, of course, a little interaction between Jakar and Garibaldi. And Garibaldi thinks that Jakar is going to smash him because of what happened to him. But no, Jakar is happy to see that Garibaldi's back. Elated, even.
He's happy to see his friend.
Yes.
And because that's them searching for him is what caused that. But wasn't Garibaldi's fault. So
no.
And now we got to call up Lita.
She's like, if I remember, this is the scene where she's like, thanks for the living conditions, or we're kicking you out. It's the mess. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that the Vorlons aren't around, they're not paying for this no more. And poor Zach, now he's got to be the one that's.
But you got to be tough with people, unfortunately, and just.
But also, she does mention that she would just like somebody to come and see her with something that doesn't have to do with the shadows or the Vorlons.
Yeah, maybe.
Would you like to go to dinner sometime?
Yeah, I'm sure that would be nice if somebody came by and said that.
Oh, in a heartbeat, I would. It's like try to get rid of me, Lita. She could read my mind, and the jig is up.
Careful, Baron. She might throw the drink in your face.
Yeah, she might.
Yeah. Good old. So now we have our little meeting between Jakar and Londo for the first time on the station. Not exactly a pleasant one, but
no.
But quite understandable. Quite understandable about
it's more
about
of a mutual respect, if anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it also makes you think at this point, what would the show be without those two characters?
It wouldn't be the same, and it wouldn't be as strong.
It became with those two characters involved in it. It'd be a completely different show.
Like Krit said, I mean, sometimes those two were the most interesting parts of the episode.
Yeah,
their chemistry. So
yeah, because I was gonna say it was those two, at times in some episodes that weren't very good. Well, they helped save the episode.
Right.
Right. Sometimes it's all it takes. And of course, there's Bester, and he's laying his case down about with the shadows and his concerns about what's happening back on Earth. There's a good look for Walter Koenig, huh?
Such a jackass.
Whereas Ivana was like, I don't trust him. I want to throw him out the airlock.
Yeah, yep. Well, anybody would. He's no.
Mm-hmm.
Another scumbag on Babylon 5. Coming to visit. And now is here. And yeah.
He's trying to scan, and it's not working because look who's there. We find out that her abilities are far stronger than even P12. Oh, she looks a little satisfied with herself, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm. No. And he's not too pleased about it.
No.
I think at this point, Zach is saying, you really feel this is the right thing to do?
Mm-hmm. It's like, come on. Come
on, Chief.
He's like, come on, man. You want some ice cream? No?
But he's showing more and more hostility towards Sheridan.
Come on, we'll watch some Daffy Duck together, no?
But there's camaraderie between those two still.
Yes.
Zach's gone a long way and came back, and every one of these characters.
Yes.
Of course, one of the things too is we find out that Bester is the person who came up with the Psychor's Omega Squadron. And on board the White Star, aren't we having a nice conversation? She goes, I like guys who are 6 foot tall, not little dipsqueaks like you.
It's a weasel.
And yeah, they're having a little back and forth with each other on that. And what do we see here? All sorts of people leaving, going away. Why? What happened? Well, what we don't see on there is Zahadun blew up. Boom. There was boom today. And it all because of Lita. Basically, there she is, moving. John Sheridan comes in to talk with her. She explains what she did, that the Vorlons put something in her head that the planet had to, no one should have their technology. It's dangerous. And he seems amused. He seems nice, amused with everything. But then he comes down on her big time. Like, don't you ever do that again. But, how can you really get mad at her when it's something that, as he knows, the Vorlons have around with you as much as a shadow.
Yep.
Yeah, they put that in her mind, so she had no control.
It didn't hurt that she was pleased with doing it. But basically he's saying, your time here, don't mess up or you're gone. I'm not going to put up with your crap. Which I think you should be a little more giving to her for that, especially with everything she's done. Everything.
Yeah, that's a tough road right there, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but then the door rings, and what do we have? There's Zach. It looks like a Chicago pizza.
It's the Zach attack.
Yeah, Zach attack. Look at that. Babylon Pizza. Planet Express. Oh, and remember this guy? Yeah, our minister. Yep. He wakes up and what's this?
Yeah. What's that?
Did we see something like this before?
Not good.
We did. Yeah. We did.
I got my eye on you, literally. Okay, so
literally has his eye on him and is controlling him.
Right. So, poor guy. So, thoughts on this episode? Again, a lot happening in this. Boom, boom, boom. Not really a filler. More of what would you say?
It was a setup. It was a table setter for the next part of the story. Yeah, a very interesting table setter.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it did close the other chapter up with the destruction of Zahadum. Makes you wonder, what do the Vorlons have for allies that might have been trying to get stuff off of the Vorlon homeworld? And as we're told that the Vorlons have made it that no one can go there for 1,000,000 years. Does that mean Sebastian's going to be kept on ice for 1,000,000 years and all the others?
Possibly.
I don't know about you. I would have loved to have seen what the Vorlon homeworld looked like.
Well, maybe we will still see it. Maybe if the road home did well enough as far as sales are concerned, maybe that will be part of a future story with the animated features.
Go out and buy that, folks. Buy it. So, any last thoughts on this episode?
Watch it because it helps set up the next story chapter.
Krit, Cash? Okay.
I think
Mike
covered it.
Yeah, I think he did, yeah.
So we will go to the last episode we'll deal with. It's called The Illusion of Truth and How Apple Pro. And I think it's very telling for this age that we're living in right now, especially with how the media is today.
A lot of the media,
yeah.
When
not
we
all
were talking earlier, Barrett, this was the episode I was referring to.
Oh, I knew it. I knew exactly what you are. And this will be the third episode that we had dealing with ISN extensively on board the station. The first time was in the first season when Sinclair was being interviewed and asked why Babylon 5. Then we had, of course, their version of 48 Hours on the station where they're going through the everyday life on board the station. And now we have ISN coming on board of the station. Of course, John's playing around with a model of a Star Fury that JMS claims says that he thinks they got from someone who did something, making illegal toys or whatever, and they kept that because it looked good. I don't know. You never know.
He might have been pulling people's legs.
Yeah, exactly. No, you wouldn't put it by him, honestly. And of course, it's like, what about the war at home? They got to now start turning their focus on. We had this little breather. And then we got this guy coming through here. Hi, I'm coming through. I want to come on board the station, blah, blah. Zach's not having any of this. He smells a rat because Zach's, he was trained by the best. Kick open the thing and a floating eye comes out and they find out that this guy is ISN. And it's like, why do the enemy has come.
Yep.
Don't move. Don't even breathe. Oh, Zach, look at that.
Don't move a muscle.
Of course, he is brought forward to John Sheridan, and Sheridan is talking with him, and they're explaining back on Earth, not everyone, especially in ISN, is sympathetic to what's going on. We need to get the truth. We need to had the people find out what's really going on in the station, not the propaganda that we've been getting from the Clark administration. And promising to have as what would you say as honest reporting as possible. Trying to get trying to win over John Sheridan. And he does look kind of sincere. Look at that. That's a sincere face.
Looks
I don't know. I don't know. I get a bad feeling about that face.
I don't know.
Oh, come on. I think he's related to Morden. He got the same looks as Morden. And, come on. That looks like odd. Would you trust that? That's a news journalist face right there.
Reminds me of Chris Cuomo.
I would trust Ferengi over this guy.
Ferengi.
Oh, Ferengi. They're wonderful people. Great businessmen to have on your side.
Reminds me of Chris Cuomo.
Yep.
I would trust Zathras even more. And I like Zathras. But no one listened to Zathras.
And we see, of course, Mr. Garibaldi with his new job of acquisitions of stuff for people and dealing with a customer. Lanier comes by to visit. Hey, how's it going? How you doing? Yeah, whatever.
Like the new job?
Mm-hmm. Of course, Sheridan comes by with the reporter and a little bit of flashbacking here. That kind of looks a little like Brian, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just in. Mm-hmm. And needless to say, he's kind of taking note. And of course, poor Lanier, he's got all these little things floating around him, and he finds an opportunity to get one a hit with his little horned head, and I guess he doesn't like it. Going down below, showing things with the station, of course, taking filming where Londo and Sheridan are having a little talk, a little boisterous. Nothing to really take too serious one, and of course we have the interview between our two loving couple here. And,
and of course the journalist is trying to pry.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, because people have, that was one of the center, if you take on face value, people are concerned at home is how much does this half Minbari have control over you type of thing. If you take a look at the propaganda and what is up with this lady anyways, you're Minbari, now you're a fusion, and now you got this guy on your elbow and you're both leading this coalition. People are worried. What does it take? And he's trying to get information and runs across good old Michael Garibaldi, and Garibaldi's more than happy to talk to him. No ifs, ands, or buts. Here we're at the table. It's about time for the show to happen.
Yep. And of course, during this, Garibaldi has to open up his mouth too much and starts ticking off Sheridan.
So here we are. We're getting ready. This is the view from the television. So this is what the television sees when you turn it on, folks. And it's hypertext caption. So thank God for that. I wish we had that for this show, by the way. Gotta love that set. Looks like something you'd find in the Senate on Coruscant.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, it's a shell. And of course, remember, touch there if you want to get a download background files on, of course, the Mars and the new Red Menace that Mars is. So we're going through a little bit there.
You know what I was able to catch rewatching this episode is you can hear as she's giving the report, you could hear the part where they had to do the ADR.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of times where they do the ADR, you don't even know.
Mm-hmm. And I think the reason why is because they mispronounced his name. Because he was JMS was using people that were blacklisted in Hollywood, and that was one of the names. In fact, I guess the actor passed away not too long afterwards. But with the it was Paul Jericho was the name of the person that's supposed to be named after, and they said the name wrong, and he and they were making known that only his name was dubbed. Was it about the names were being dubbed because only that name was dubbed because it was mispronounced. But it does add to an effect, doesn't it? It makes you kind of notice something, even though it was never planned. So, and there he is. He's listing off, and so the names that he's listing off in there, like Trumbo, that's another one that was part of it, and yeah, and of course you know what that means. He was on his way to get offed. And hey, I recognize this guy. Oh, he's already back on Earth. Oh, great.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what he has to talk about. And he's going through his prologue, talking about the aliens and how Sheridan is being controlled. As you take a look here with the psychiatrist series. Well, just like they do with us, where they sit back going, I've never really talked with this person.
We have a legal analyst with us to analyze the situation. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah. Or in this case, it's a psychologist. It's like, can you give us a psychological evaluation of this man? Just like they've done with Orange Man and other people that are in office. Say, I don't have this person as a patient, but watching them on TV and all that, I've come to this conclusion what this person is. And of course, it falls right into the line of again, propaganda BS, which this guy is doing. And if you think this guy looks familiar, he is familiar. You've seen him and stuff. That gentleman's name is Henry Darrow, and Henry Darrow has been in many productions. From unfortunately, he is gone now. He passed away in 2021, but he was on One Tree Hill. He was on Just Shoot Me, Bold and the Beautiful. But he was also on Star Trek, The Next Generation, Star Trek Voyager, and I don't think it was Deep Space Nine, or was it Enterprise? I can't remember. Next Generation, I know for sure. He's also in Time Tracks. In fact, he was the chief that sends the agent, the cop, back in time. So he was so you seen his face. Yeah, he was in Voyager. Yeah. So yeah, he was in a lot of stuff.
He was the caretaker in Voyager.
Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing who you start seeing popping up. He was also in the Hitcher, Knight Rider, T.J. Hooker, Golden Girls. Yeah, I mean, of course, here Babylon 5. So yeah, he's not a strange face. We mostly know him with having a mustache on, though. And of course, he's giving a psychological evaluation of John Sheridan, and we're going to continue on. What's going on here? And now, if you notice, and this is something that you have to notice, is the voice with the questions asked from him when you're looking at John in to some of the people is different, and the chair is different, which means that the scenes where you see him were filmed afterwards and used to intersplice to make things the way they are, except for one thing: him talking with Michael Garibaldi. As JMS says, if there's one thing that was undoctored in the whole thing, it was this interchange between these two and what he was saying about Sheridan. And now we're going to get to more disturbing things. We're going to the cryo chamber, and look, they don't even show it, but they show off all the capsules from the telepaths that were frozen. So I mean, he's really milking how Franklin is experimenting on humans, how Londo has Sinclair under his Sheridan.
It's a spin job, is what it is.
It's worse than a spin job. It is just absolute propaganda.
I was gonna add that it's adding to President Clark's propaganda machine.
Exactly. They're not much better than TASS or any others that are government run, and I mean any government run. Doesn't matter which country you're in, whether it's North Korea, Canada, even NPR, because technically, even though they're PBS, they say they're government. Of course, Franklin is talking and explaining things. Of course, we're back to him. He's going through a psychological analysis again on all of things and making sure everything's smeared properly. And it's like, this is a disturbing thing, folks. I mean, we got a madman out there. A madman.
He's aligning himself with enemies.
Yeah. Everybody was the enemy against Earth. Mm-hmm. Oh, Ivanova's not happy. Delenn is concerned, and John is looking out.
If Ivanova could, she'd reach right through that screen and choke him.
Mm-hmm. The interchange. John comes back, and click. Hi, Babylon 5. I mean, basically, it was a simple, straight through, no B, C stories, all A story on this one, which I think is good on that. And again, it goes in that aspect of looking at things through, do we trust the media?
Yep.
So I'll leave with you guys to talk about that a little bit. I know Cash probably got a few things to say.
It stinks. No.
Oh, you want that? You want that?
It's
fine.
It's fine. Just
it stinks.
Right. Just like a lot of our real media, like you just find out the more you listen to, what do you trust and what don't you trust, and even though this is just an episode of a TV show, it's like, oh well, we're having stuff like this continuing to go on in real life. So. Earth playing their games at this point. You definitely. I'm always on the side of Babylon 5 with Sheridan. Like you can't trust Earth. Earth has been corrupted with power, and as we are going to find out what's going on, and it's more BS. And then they use the media, of course, for their propaganda bullshit. So.
Which the media always has been.
Yeah, they have been. But there is still some journalists out there that actually care about the facts. Not too many, but some.
Oh yeah.
And there is some news out there that they just report the news, which is fine too. And they don't have to give their little spin on what they think of the situation when they don't know the whole story.
Well, isn't that what a journalist should be? I'm just reporting the story.
Yes.
I'm giving you both sides.
Right.
And there you
go.
Now,
right. And if you have an opinion show, that's one thing. The few other things, that's one thing. That's an opinion show. But if you're actually out there and you're reporting the news, and then you come out and say, we're the America's most blah, 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 like ABC World News, like I hate to throw them under the bus. I really don't. But they've changed so much that, you can see comparisons between ABC 7 News or PBS NewsHour. They can't just report on the news. MSNBC, but they say, CNN, they say that they're, integrity. They always like to use the word integrity. Like I don't mind things like, I think Fox says they like to say America's watching. I think a majority of them are, because even after Tucker was gone, I don't, they still have people on there that go, oh, this makes sense. I will say that. And that should be for any news network. But you can make definitely all these comparisons between this episode and our actual real news. And that there's a lot of propaganda out there. There's lies being spread. And, that's what Earth is obviously using their news organization to spread lies about Babylon 5. And so they want anything from Garibaldi trying to, in a way, smear Sheridan because of the way he feels. And of course, at this point, we don't know exactly everything that happened to Garibaldi. So, you feel some sympathy for him, but you also probably feel like, well, maybe he needs to be, put in prison for a little while or smacked in the face. It's like, what is he doing? Sheridan's done a lot for Babylon 5 and expose. He really does care about exposing corruption, but he's done things that you would say you got to get your hands dirty, that may not be always the best idea, but it had to be done. So
right. Well, yeah, I mean, any decision you make always has a tendency to go south on you in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I love when they do episodes like this. MASH did an episode like this too, Baron.
Yep.
I enjoy these episodes a lot.
In fact, JMS does not hide anything about the fact that that's what inspired these trio of episodes that we've seen.
Why wouldn't they?
Right? Yeah,
makes sense.
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, and it does. It's great for looking into characters more.
Right, I agree.
It kind of cuts down to drama for one, but it gets to see a little bit more of what these people are. We're so used to seeing them in one way, now we're starting to see in another way. So yeah, I think these are some of my most favorite episodes of Babylon 5, to be honest with you, because of that character building, and not only that, the universe building, and how things gone south from when we first saw them doing this to now.
Yep, I agree.
Anybody else? Now that our political analyst has spoken up.
I mean, the parallels to what's going on now, of course, and it shows you how relevant Babylon 5 is, even though it premiered for its first season 30 years ago, it's still relevant today. It still holds up today, because we're still facing some of the same problems now that we were facing 30 years ago.
Krit?
Well, I mean, like the other day, I won't say his name, but a candidate was making a speech, and they cut away from him before they can hear him finish it, and they're all laughing, the so-called journalists. So there is a bias, there is a hide the truth, and that very same day I was trying to see people pull a spin on things on a big subject, and why spin it, why hide the truth? I don't know. It's just media. I think news is more of a thing for money now. It's your money, as your money, as Robert De Niro would say in Casino. Taking your money. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it goes even more than that. Is they don't want their quote unquote truth be challenged.
No,
and they don't want to be wrong.
Nope.
And they want everybody to follow them. In some ways, I think you have, especially in the media, this cult of personality that they have of themselves, and they want everyone else to follow them like little tin gods. And which is one of the dangers of having stars. And let's face it, people in the news agencies, they view themselves as stars and celebrities,
media darlings, and
media darlings.
Media stars.
And the same thing with politicians. You take a look at politicians, a lot of them sit back and look at themselves, again, media darlings and celebrities, and so much more than what they really are, and so much more important than they really are.
Yep.
So,
yes.
And it doesn't
look at me. I'm the most important person on this planet right now. I mean, let's use a perfect example of some of them that they're making out very important, and they're taking away what's happening on the field because the NFL is using this individual too. Let's not forget that for ratings.
Oh yeah,
Taylor Swift.
Yep.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Oh yeah, that's a dog and pony show right there. By the way, I just want to say one thing. This last episode, by the way, that talking about, was directed by Stephen Furst. So
nice.
Vera did this episode. Well, I mean, and it doesn't go, to basically quote a title of a book by P.G.R. Rourke, The Parliament of Whores. It doesn't go surprise anybody that the media and the politicians would walk side by side, arm in arm, making out behind the 7-Eleven, because, well, the media wants to have power, and the power wants to have their voice heard.
Mm-hmm.
So, how is the politician or whatever, the power, going to get his voice out? By the media. And how's the media going to get what it wants for its power? By, reporting what these individuals are. I don't want to say incestuous, because it really isn't incestuous, but it definitely is something on the level of nepotism, I would say.
Yes.
But definitely a parliament of whores. I mean, no doubt about it. And it's funny because back then they were trying to take the viewpoint, about beware the right wing, and the right wing, even back then, it's like you've got to be careful, because the liberal-minded people won't do that. Well, I got news for you. Anybody can and would do that.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. It doesn't matter what your political beliefs are. Anybody can, if you lose the way, can abuse it.
Yes.
And I'm sure some people are just ripping their clothes apart, thinking that this was a perfect jab at people on the right side of the aisle, when now they're seeing the repugnant wave that's on the left side of the aisle. Just like anybody says, it's a pendulum, goes back and forth. It goes back and forth, right? Mm-hmm. It just happens to be going this way now, to where we're seeing this cesspool and the one-sidedness on that. And really, that's a fact. That's a fact. Other things can be argued, viewpoints, point of views, who's right, who's wrong. But it always goes back and forth. What becomes more of the, what would you say, palatable philosophy out there?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's when one side gets too carried away, and you get that all of a sudden coming back.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention which side is getting more carried away. We don't need YouTube to get in their panties in a knot. So.
Well, yeah, and I'm trying not to be political about other than the overall aspect of politics, just the age-old game of politics, going back to where Cain smashed Abel over the head and said, "Rock, what rock? I have no idea how that happened, Lord."
Mm-hmm.
Fake news is what you heard from the clouds. So, I mean, any power with their might, if they're able to get the information out, would use it. Whether it was Mesopotamia, where it was Babylon, Macedonia, Greece, the Middle East, whether it was Israel, Egypt, Assyria, Rome, the Middle Ages, the church, and when I mean church, the Roman Catholic Church, because that was the big powerhouse back then, or even the other one, the Eastern Orthodox Church, or Lutheranism when that came about. And I mean, no matter what, you always had the media, and even more so when you had the removable type, and you're able to publish pamphlets out faster and faster than you ever did before, which of course sped up the Reformation. If anyone who got control of that, the happier they are to be able to get their side out. And a lot of people don't want to bring this part, but one of the things that really helped spur on the Revolutionary War was the stamp tax, which was going to slow down the freedom of information. The printing presses had to be taxed, paper had to be taxed, all that was getting taxed, because if you tax it, less chance of having stuff going out there, because bad King George, winding his clocks in London, he wanted to make sure, again, only his stuff stays in control. Are we hearing a little bit of that now? Net neutrality, I think.
That was supposed to be a good thing, but that was when Obama brought it up. But then there's the problem is, like, are we looking at all the different it's like, oh no, it gives the customers more freedom, and it's like, does it though? Or does it give the government more control? Or does it give, because these ISPs are throttling. It was throttle your connection or whatever. I got it. I'm fine.
I know.
It was just I was like, should I say throttling or throttle? I'll just say throttle. But no, it was they were trying to do that, and so people are like, oh, net neutrality. This is a good thing, and you're like, is it though? And so I think when it comes to any of this stuff, you got to start peeling those layers and see, is this really going to help the consumers? I mean, I'm sure there was a time that people even thought stuff like streaming services were going to be good, but once again, when there's too much of something, it can be a bad thing.
Well, I think it goes even more than, is it good for consumers? Is it good for liberty?
Is it good? Right, good for liberty or good for the people in general? Yeah.
And I know when net neutrality was coming out, it's like, whoa, we don't want to go that way. It sounds a little bit like, again, I'm sure someone will try to go out there and say the Stamp Act was a good thing. They always do.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure they would. Yeah.
But what happens in the end? Yeah. So, I mean, again, you can have this episode aired 50 years from now and still be relevant.
Oh, yes, definitely.
You could have someone else coming out with an episode like this 50 years from now and it'll still be relevant.
Oh, yes, it would be.
Things never change in this aspect.
No.
Information is power.
Mm-hmm.
The control of it is even more powerful.
Yes.
Any other thoughts about this episode, gentlemen?
It's relevant. It's still relevant. I know I've already said that, but this episode is still relevant today.
It's good. It's good. Everything about Babylon 5 is good. Good.
Well, if I was going to give this episode a rating, I'd give it a 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Yeah. It's
wait a moment. Because there's no free speech to orcas, by the way. Yeah, because.
Because fired. One very good reason.
What are you trying to do? Some poaching there, Baron?
Maybe.
Okay.
One very good reason why I give it a 5 out of 5.
Email.
It makes you think. It makes you go, wait a minute. Especially watching it now. I mean, think about what was happening back then. The war in Yugoslavia was happening back then.
Yeah, it was being ripped apart. We had just gotten done with the first Gulf War. We still hadn't had 9/11 yet, but look at what happened with 9/11. Boy, did it really mirror then. So, I mean,
and this is what we talk about when we want television shows that make us think.
Yes,
make us step back and go, wait a minute. I see this. I see this in my everyday life now. You can open up a web browser, and you're always going to see a news article from a news agency spinning the news story for one side over the other.
Well, I mean, even when we take a look at stuff that's in pop culture, the stuff that we like, look at all the BS that we're fed on that.
Oh man, there's a lot. Yeah.
I mean,
I will never believe that any kind of media site that you put out that you need to inject your politics or some kind of BS opinion that has nothing to do with the article. And I just go back to a lot more of what break down the game or movie or whatever, but keep your damn politics out of it. That goes for everyone, because it's never. You'll see it you'll see it over and over again. It's just never the best direction. It just isn't.
Well, I always say just put Krit in charge of one of the studios and see what good entertainment we get off of that. But the thing is, in and by itself,
he's got some good ideas. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I honestly do. I'm not bullshitting. But I mean, we will always. I think any writer will interject a little bit of their political belief, but it's the pandering you have, political party pandering type of insertion, telling you that you have to be this way is the things that. And Blaze Rock Darren is here. And again, that's the problem. So, yeah, it's I think this could be a very problematic episode if some people see it. Probably not their favorite. For me, I revel in it.
Yep, me too.
Any other last thoughts?
You already heard me. I give it a 5 out of 5, so I obviously enjoy it.
5 out of 5.
Yeah, Krit thought 5 out of 5 on that one. Cash Monet is going to be contrary, though. He's going to be 1.5 out of 5. I know him. Because he likes bending the media to his side.
It's a really good episode. No.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, before we go here, let's start with Space Jesus down below us here. Lord Krit of Everest Productions. Do you have anything new, noteworthy, interesting you wish to share with us?
About the episodes, or
no,
about your channel, man. About your
you're promoting yourself now, man.
It's okay.
Well, I'm gonna do a deep dive into Dune, the original.
David Lynch.
Yep, and you can shame me. I haven't read the book. I do own the book, but
What do you say? I'm kidding.
I'll have to read the book while we're doing our deep dive. I'll probably do it. I'll probably use it as a text, but no, we're gonna watch the. I'm gonna probably stream it maybe sometime whenever you guys are available. We're not gonna rewatch the original as it was. We're watching the Redux edit, which is 3 hours long and includes all the deleted stuff and more context.
Smithy.
Okay.
Alan Smithy.
Yep, and it's all free on YouTube. So if you guys want to watch it in your own time, you can. Yes,
it's unedited.
Yeah, I can send you a link. Yeah, it's extended. It's 3 hours long. So
right. Yeah, when it came to television for the first time, they aired it in 2 segments. 2-hour segments, and what they did was they brought in all the new opening and a bunch of scenes that were cut out of the film, so obviously they could pad it out, make it more of an event. Actually, I thought it made the movie it made it better, flow better, a little bit more understandable, but David Lynch didn't like that, so he said put Alan Smithy on it. I don't approve. So
well, we're watching it anyway, so David Lynch, even though I kind of like Twin Peaks, David Lynch is kind of far out there.
He's got some interesting ideas, man. Mulholland Drive's an interesting movie.
That movie has the scariest scene where they're in the diner. I think that's scarier than any horror film I've seen. But of course, I'm gonna mention this every other week. I'm planning a convention meetup in June. Details are minimal right now, but it'll be late June. Not before July 4th, but somewhat. But I'm going to be talking about a lot about that during the spring, and we possibly might have the first meetup of some of you. So I know I'm getting cash to get in, and that's going to be something I'm going to bring up every now and then, and maybe try to get more people to come. Who knows? But other than that,
OrcaCon, right?
Yeah, it's OrcaCon.
OrcaCon.
We're all going to dress up as whales.
We do have orcas over here, but we have to go all the way north to San Juan Islands and book a whale touring. Knuckleheads. Oh. Oh, he's not saying I'm a knucklehead. He's sick.
No, you're the one.
What was that?
Yeah.
What was that, Phil? You don't want to watch Sword Art Online for a while? Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
he doesn't like. I heard he doesn't like the show. He wants
I think he
wants to watch
it.
something a little bit more.
I think he wants to watch My Little Pony or something.
He wants to watch.
GoBot.
Yeah.
GoBot.
He wants. Well, he wants to watch Babylon 5 again.
While he works on his Easy Bake Oven. Yeah, he wants to watch Babylon 5 again. Season 5, I heard, with Space Jesus is the best. You should watch that, Phil.
Season 1,
That's the only season he has.
Oh. I also hear, there's some DS9 for you, Phil. You never know. Someone might raise your hand up for something. Who knows? But I do have
the Picard collection from him.
And he still owes Matt Risman a Buster Bar, so that's bad.
I would buy the Picard collection. I would just sell the Picard stuff.
There you go.
Just sell the Picard DVDs and keep your TNG discs.
Keep your TNG and believe that what happens
keep the movies. Keep the
Jean-Luc,
maybe not Nemesis, but maybe or Insurrection. But you can keep or maybe Generations. I don't know. Generations is kind of got forced yourself.
Very sorry, Mr. Riker. I am sorry.
And Insurrection is Phil's favorite Star Trek movie.
Oh, Insurrection's not bad. I never hated that movie. It's not one of my favorites, but
it's just an extended episode. That's why I hate it.
It's a lot of political talk. I remember. I haven't seen that whole episode.
A lot of stretchiness, and the final scene has blue screen that they didn't.
I would still rather watch Insurrection than Nemesis again, though.
I feel the opposite. I don't know. I feel the opposite about that. Granted. I don't know. No, I do have some videos coming out, some what ifs and whatnot. So it's pretty calm. Pretty calm.
Cool. That's good to hear. Calm is not bad thing. Not bad at all. Okay, next going to Cash Monet 007 of the Phantom. Last night it was the Phantom Booligans, but the Phantom
Booligans. Ghostbusters, yeah. And just to comment, Phil, look, if you want to do 5 episodes with Paul, go ahead, man. I'm sure he'd be happy to have you for Tuesday Night Trek. Go for it, dude. Go for the gusto, bro.
Ooh, gusto. Gotta go with the gusto, man.
Go with the gusto, man. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Get some ice cream, dude. Hang out with your buddy Joe Biden. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are buddies. It's cool. Yeah.
Now you shook that hornet's nest up.
That's right.
What you got going
exactly. Phil's getting ready. Yeah. But no. Yeah. So I don't know. I know we have Pop Talk tomorrow earlier for me.
We do,
and so we do. Yes.
Every Sunday, Baron.
Every Sunday, Baron. Come on, Baron. It's all right.
Oh, okay.
Crank that head of yours. No, but yeah, so I'm still trying to decide if I want to do later tonight Dishonored, or do I want to do that tomorrow, or do I want to do Persona 5 Royal, because I'm going to have Pop Talk tomorrow, and then the family will be watching the Super Bowl, I'm sure, and then we'll have chips and dip and all that cool stuff, and then later on I'll probably do a stream on my channel. So I'm still doing a lot of gaming streams right now. Yeah. What was that, Phil? Take the right pills. But yeah, so there's some stuff coming up on the next few days. I'm just deciding what I want to do, if I'm going to do Rumble with test out the Nintendo and do like an hour test of a game with no commentary and see if it gets taken down. I'm kind of curious because I think it might get taken down on YouTube. Yeah. So, so yeah, we'll see what happens, but I'm still planning on doing either Dishonored later today or tomorrow or Persona 5 Royal. I haven't decided yet. So.
Very good. I was remiss in all this though. I really was remiss with this. I forgot to do this because I think it's kind of important, because of our status on Pop Talk, our true status. So there's Cash Bundy. So okay. Anything else you want to tell? Let us know there about Cash Bundy.
No, we're what? Oh,
the Comic Relief Crusader.
Hello,
hey,
sir.
Man. Hey, brother.
What's up? Yeah. So, yeah. No. Those things are coming up. I'm going to do a panel show on something. I just don't know what yet, and I'll be inviting you guys for it. It'll probably be either a movie a lot of us have seen. Maybe it. I don't know if Mike did one before. I guess it doesn't matter. But when we see Afterlife, maybe we should do a panel show on that.
I was hoping we'd do one on Caligula with Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, Caligula? Okay.
You don't want to do Caligula.
I don't know if we want to do that.
He wants to do a Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, Clockwork Orange.
Okay. And of course, we can't forget this guy, Pacific with co-hosts, Mike.
I love it.
Well, tomorrow I am very happy to say that we have one half of Pop Culture Minefield joining us tomorrow, and that's Keith Moncrief, also known as Keith Movie Geek. He will be joining us, and I know we're going to have a great conversation talking pop culture and entertainment and movies. And I'm going to be honest with everybody here. I've been wanting to have Keith and Gary as guests on Pop Talk for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the clip, Baron? The hell you say? Do you have it?
Oh, you know what? Actually, unlike the member stream, I do. I just don't know where it is.
Okay.
No, wait a moment. I don't have it on here. I gave it to him. I don't have it on mine.
Dude,
I know.
Anyways, it's not bad. I mean, I'm glad more people we're having guests on Pop Talk. I think it's great getting to know more of these streamers and what they want to do. So that's cool. Whatever channel it is in our group.
Networking.
Mm-hmm.
Cash, I know you're going to have a good conversation with Keith. Keith is very knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what the conversation will be like for Keith dealing with Cash.
Deep hurting. Deep hurting.
Now, wait, I thought all we do is just sit back and we just let Keith talk pretty much because we don't have to ask him questions because he's so knowledgeable on things.
You know what? You're not
all
too
right, Keith,
far
go
off,
ahead.
Actually.
Okay, that's what you guys told me. So
yeah.
I'm not planning on saying too much tomorrow. I just think Keith is going to be talking a lot, which is fine.
I think it's going to be a great episode of Pop Talk.
Mm-hmm.
The four of us together talking about many different topics, and of course, tomorrow we're going to have Keith on as our guest. Now, this is a spoiler. I haven't scheduled it yet, but it has been confirmed. Next Sunday, we're going to have the other half of Pop Culture Minefield, Gary Cassell, and he will be on Pop Talk to help get more eyes on his upcoming comic book, Vindicated. And folks, please, we got to support this campaign. Baron, do I have permission to?
I'll go for it, man. Go for it, man.
We have to support this campaign. Gary's a great guy. He's been in the comic book industry for many of years. He's a veteran, and this is the comic campaign that I want to support from someone who has experience, not just in the comic industry, but also military experience.
Okay,
he knows what he's talking about.
Using our social media accounts and other things and let people know about this for one would be good. Okay.
That'd be great.
Okay.
And look at that.
Nice.
But
yep, very good.
Fund it.
Keep on going on them.
Check out the link, folks. You're not going to be disappointed. And Gary's got several tiers that he's offering. He's not asking for too much. So, folks, if you want to contribute to a comic that I know it's going to be a great comic because Gary's even shown his artwork that he's done before, and he's got his website.
Yep.
You're not going to be disappointed. Just like tomorrow with Keith on, you're not going to be disappointed. It's going to be a great show. But both tomorrow and next Sunday are going to be great shows. I don't know what we're going to
talk about.
Go.
Well, I was going to sit back and say, this is what's going to happen after you ask him the first question.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Oh, man. The fact that movie offends a lot of people to this day makes me laugh.
I'm offended. Yeah, but yeah, Keith is so knowledgeable. He's a great guy. He's a wonderful guy. Eloquent. He can far better than I am at being eloquent.
Yeah, far better than I am. But
definitely
I am looking.
Josh.
I am looking
forward to. Don't throw me into your web of lies.
To be able to talk to Keith tomorrow, like I said, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And then next Sunday with Gary, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Now Wednesday, I don't know what we're gonna talk about yet because I had to look through, topics, articles to see what we can talk about that maybe not everybody else is talking about, because depending on the subject, we may not be able to add anything different from what everyone else has already said for Wednesday. But tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, please come by the channel and support Keith. Next Sunday, please come by the channel and support Gary. And of course, Monday and Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I'll be playing Mad Max on stream for the first time. I've played a little bit offline, and I said, yeah, I'm going to play more of this. I'm going to play more of this on stream.
It's a good game. Oh,
yeah, it is from what I remember. Good game, yeah.
And then Thursday, I'm going to play the remastered version of the first Tomb Raider game from 1996.
Oh boy, that's a rough one.
I know. I'm going to see how much I remember and how much I have forgotten over the years.
But, yeah, if that remastered trilogy turns out well, I'll get it, but I'm going to still wait for now. I don't want to pre-order.
Here I thought maybe Wednesday we could talk about the shoe business and how it's going.
Well, he did have an idea for Pop Talk, and we might actually use that idea Wednesday.
Uh-oh. Okay.
I'm just trying to keep you on your toes.
No,
not that. I got that one with you as Marcy. Not.
No. That's not me as Marcy.
That's Nightmare Fuel.
Yeah. Oh.
In that one?
That's Nightmare Fuel.
It is.
No, I think this is more befitting.
Yeah.
Okay, and before we go also here, I do want to... Oh, Jason's back again. He's just in and out. What he is, he's just passing out and coming back, waking up again. But speaking of which, I just want to thank our crazy Norwegian Jace Fox from 540 Studio. Blazer Hawk Darren stepped in and said, I have no idea what's going on here, but hey, that's okay. We don't either. Yeah, no, whatever. Comic Relief Crusader came in. DJ Ronnie G was here, and Phil McCracken.
Oh boy,
favorite king and legend of trolls was here.
Remember the red pill, Phil. The red pill, not the blue one. The red.
Yeah, that doesn't work with him. He doesn't pay attention. So I want to thank, of course, everyone who was in the chat, anyone who was listening, or will be listening and catching us on the backside. Of course, I want to thank my fellow panelists and friends, Mike, Cash Monet, and Lord Krit, for joining me on this. And with that, I just want to say good night, everyone. Have a pleasant tomorrow, as they had on Saturday Night Live. But good night, good morning, good evening, whenever you might be catching this.
many of you think the opinions of actors should be valued as much as, well, say, doctors, engineers, or a courageous congressman?
Right here. Yeah, right on.
Well, you're wrong. Actors are self-centered punks.